Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, I'm talking about Sebastian Rogers. Last year on this day, Sebastian was alive, at least until the point when he and his mother, Katie Proudfoot, left the Texas Roadhouse restaurant near his Hendersonville, Tennessee home. Sebastian was reportedly seen after that taking the garbage out, although it's unclear if that 100% was him. His father, Seth Rogers, has been mostly in anguish since Monday, February 26, 2024, when Sebastian's stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, called him to say that Sebastian was missing. I'm fairly certain that Seth, despite that news, likely believed that Sebastian would soon turn up. I'm sure he was hopeful. How could he have known that early on that this nightmare would continue for the next 12 months and counting? It was somewhere between 55 and 57 degrees Fahrenheit around 3 a.m. that Monday in Tennessee when Sebastian vanished. I checked 5 different websites that tell you what the weather was like in the past, by the way, so I'm fairly confident that that temperature is correct. Now, while that's not below freezing, it still would have been chilly in the darkness of the early morning hours. Chris and Katie Proudfoot insist that Sebastian was barefoot, without a coat, without his phone, basically without everything except a tiny keychain flashlight. None of that, of course, makes sense, and when things don't make sense in true crime cases, red flags go up. I found out today from SweetiePieLo that a dining room window at the Proudfoot home was open that night. I believe Sweetie Pie made calls to people in the area after Sebastian disappeared, and I think that's where the information came from. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now that window opens to the front of the Proudfoot home, so I'm not sure that it would have been used to allow someone in or out. I say that because none of the security cameras in that neighborhood apparently picked up a person entering or exiting the front of that home that night. However, it's possible that that window was left open to communicate with someone, or plural someones, outside in the shadows. It's a lot easier to hear someone and communicate with someone who's outside if the window is open. What was captured on a neighbor's security camera were those 2 lights moving in the darkness near the Proudfoot home just after 3 a.m. No one has been able to say definitively what exactly those lights were. Not the reporter, Nick Barris, and not the PI/searcher, Steve Fisher of SF Investigates. The Proudfoots and Seth Rogers, too, have said that they were told those lights belonged to garbage trucks. However, we know that the garbage trucks didn't arrive in the neighborhood until around 5:12 a.m. I doubt the garbage trucks would have been there at 3 a.m. and still been there 2 hours later at 5:12 a.m. That certainly makes no sense. Law enforcement, through Nick Barris, continues to say that the case is still under investigation. Barris's contacts told him that the case is still active, it's not cold, but it's also not a criminal investigation, because so far, there's no tangible evidence of foul play. Yes, the Proudfoots don't seem to be looking for Sebastian. Yes, their story doesn't make sense. Yes, Katie Proudfoot acted weird as F at the Texas Roadhouse restaurant where she dined with Sebastian on that Sunday night. But apparently none of these things are enough, at least in law enforcement's eyes, to press charges. My gut, for what it's worth, says this case is all about foul play, and the people who likely made it happen are probably celebrating today that at least so far they've been able to get away with it. Can you say duper's delight to the 100th power? Chris Proudfoot did say with confidence that this case will be studied for years. I'm not sure why he's so certain of that, but oh well. What we do know is that 1, the Proudfoots did not want Sebastian living with them full-time anymore. 2, the Proudfoots were dealing with at least 1 Child Protective Services report and possibly 4 more, likely having to do with Sebastian. Every CPS report is a huge red flag when a child from that home goes missing. 3, Katie and Chris Proudfoot left the home soon after Sebastian vanished instead of hanging tight in case he returned. 4, Chris was allegedly observed by neighbors calling Sebastian derogatory names and spraying him with a power washer. 5, Katie and Chris forced 15-year-old Sebastian to wear diapers to school. I can't think of a more humiliating act for any child. 6, Chris told Seth allegedly that if people knew what Sebastian had done, they wouldn't search for him. In my opinion, Chris Proudfoot is the epitome of someone with duper's delight. I've never seen or heard that man shed 1 tear for his stepson, Sebastian, in all of the interviews he's done. In fact, what I have seen and heard is the opposite. Chris often laughs and chuckles during his online chats. Let me ask you, who feels giddy when their autistic stepchild with chromosomal deletion syndrome goes missing? Even if he didn't care for Sebastian all that much, you would think he would show some compassion and respect for Sebastian's mother, Katie. That is, unless Katie is as untouched emotionally as he appears to be. I listened to SweetiePieLo's show today, and she had Reverend Donna Seraphina on. Donna is a psychic. I'll leave a link to that show in the description on YouTube. I found what Donna had to say very interesting. I know not everybody believes in psychics, and I'm skeptical myself about 99% of psychics. However, I do believe some people have a gift, and I think Donna may be one of them. She believes, sadly, that Sebastian is no longer with us, and I'm gutted to say that I also feel that way. I just think he would have been spotted by now if he were still able to walk and talk. Donna said that the spirits indicated that if the CPS report or reports about Sebastian were further investigated, and if the Proudfoots' alleged horrendous treatment of Sebastian came fully into the light, then Chris likely would lose all custody of his daughter, Faith. Donna spoke about clues that she received in her spiritual readings. She did one big reading with Sebastian, apparently, and then she also did separate meditations. Clue number 1. Donna mentioned that when you have a conspiracy, meaning a number of people working together or conspiring to pull off a crime, each person involved has their own reason for participating. They each have their own or perhaps a shared motive, and I think that's an excellent point. The potential motives in this case are about Chris's custody of Faith and him not wanting anything to jeopardize that. Other clues Donna cited are the instances when Chris used a belt on Sebastian. He's admitted to doing that, so it's not allegedly, it actually happened. We also heard that Sebastian was, allegedly, made to sleep in the garage. If that's true, it points to Sebastian being treated like an animal, not a child. And it wasn't just Chris who wanted custody of Faith. Apparently Chris's mother, Kathy Bowersox, also wanted custody of that little girl. We know from Faith's mother, Nina Gomez, that both Kathy and Katie Proudfoot were cruel to her, to Nina, and to her 2 young children from an earlier marriage. I would also say that they were cruel to Faith because they served Nina papers in front of Faith at the airport, causing Nina to get very upset and go running through the airport to grab Faith away from them. That would have been a traumatic moment for Faith, no matter how old she was. Kids and animals, in my opinion, sense danger. They also sense emotional upset. So I do believe Faith would have known that there was bad juju there. Donna said that she saw abuse at the Proudfoot home in her spiritual reading, but she also pointed out that taking care of a child on the spectrum can be challenging and stressful. That's not an excuse for anybody harming Sebastian, but it does make for a power keg type of atmosphere inside that house. Donna said she saw a scuffle between Sebastian and his mother, Katie, and she said Katie was almost trying to hit Sebastian to get him away from her. She said Katie was probably stressed out with Sebastian, and she wasn't trying to hurt him, she was just trying to get away from him. And I think we all know that it can be stressful raising any child, but when you factor in special needs, you need even more patience. We also know that the Proudfoots wanted Sebastian out of their home so badly that they were considering a boys' group home for Sebastian. And Seth, although he was willing to take his son full time, wasn't making it happen fast enough for Katie and Chris. Donna said spirits showed her a very dark green truck with a rack on top of it, so that it was a truck perhaps used for construction or maybe somebody who cleans pools. Donna said this truck seemed to be connected to the place where she saw Sebastian being taken. Donna said Sebastian was definitely taken somewhere. She said it was likely a rural area, possibly near some mountains. It was a place where you'd see mountains at least in the distance, and there's a curve on the road, and the house is on a curve as well, and it's facing sideways to the road. The house was 3/4 of the way up the hill or the mountain. She said these could be foothills or maybe not. There was a mountain ridge, but Donna said it could be a literal mountain ridge. Certainly that could be the case in Tennessee, or that could be the name of a street, perhaps with the word mountain or ridge in it. Donna also said she kept seeing the sky. Now remember, this is her vision, so we're not saying this actually happened. This is just what Donna Seraphina says she saw. Donna also saw a chimney with smoke coming out. That makes me nervous because it could tell us where Sebastian is hidden if we choose to believe in Donna's visions. But again, she believes this was a conspiracy, not an accident. So it's not to imply that Sebastian crawled into a chimney and got stuck. According to Donna, the spirits also showed her a man doing woodworking. Then she saw a man eating corn on the cob, and the corn got stuck in the guy's teeth. She said that something is going on with the front tooth of this man. She said she also saw that same man using his fists on Sebastian to the point where he unalived him. Donna also said she saw that somewhere during the transport of Sebastian to this location, his arm was injured. So she wondered, does this mean that when Sebastian is found, he will have a broken arm? Donna said she saw people inside some type of outbuilding, and Sebastian was made to go inside of it, and within 2 to 3 hours, he was no longer alive. Per Donna, there was more than one man, so at least 2 men and possibly 3. And again, one of them had a tooth issue. Before Sebastian died, Donna said she saw him crouched in a corner of this outbuilding. Now, I really hope this stuff isn't true. I hate to think of Sebastian being awake and being harmed. When I've thought of this, I've always thought that he might have been given some medication to knock him out so that he wouldn't have been aware of what was going on. Back to Donna. She said that the man used his fists on Sebastian, and he held his head and neck at one point with an arm in a stranglehold. Donna then sees Sebastian dragged out, possibly hit with a shovel as well as a 2x4, and Donna apologized over and over to Seth in the event that he hears about this reading. Then she saw Sebastian running through some wooded area. She said he only gets about 50 feet and then he collapses. She also said she didn't see the exact moment of Sebastian passing away, and she said it was likely because she prayed not to see that. Now, if this vision is true, these evil people then took Sebastian's clothing off. They wrapped him in some type of plastic transparent tarp in the fetal position. According to Donna, they burned Sebastian's clothes, and the man with the tooth issue went inside a house, and he spoke to a female who had brunette hair. Donna could not hear the conversation. This lady was present when all of this went down, and according to Donna, she had no problem with what was done to Sebastian. This story is so awful. I pray to God this vision of Donna's is wrong, but she did get it right on the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. She saw what happened to Tylee and JJ before the kids were found. For those who want to poo-poo Donna Seraphina, just know that law enforcement occasionally, not often, not all the time, but they do sometimes look to psychics for help. So again, Donna believes that Sebastian sustained an injury to his arm before he arrived at that destination where there's an outbuilding. A male who had a personal relationship with Sebastian, according to Donna, used DV against him. This person had a personal gratification in doing these cruel things and said to Sebastian, according to Donna, "Your mom can't protect you now." If this is true, and I'm not saying it is because it's a psychic vision, but if it is, and if the people involved hear about this, I hope they freak out and I hope they start shaking. Now, Donna described the house as being a ranch-style older house. She also saw honeysuckle flowers around a mailbox. She said the honeysuckles could be actually around a mailbox near this home, or they could be the name of a street, or they're just there to be interpreted in some way. So I decided to kind of goof around and put the words honeysuckle and Tennessee in a Google search and look to see what popped up. Well, look how many places are named honeysuckle in this part of Tennessee. Do you see where Clarksville is to the upper left? But get this, I then typed in honeysuckle and Hendersonville, and lo and behold, guess what popped up? One street over from where Sebastian Rogers lived, on Stafford Court, is a street named Honeysuckle Drive. Check it out if you don't believe me. If you're watching this video as opposed to just listening, you can see what I'm talking about on the maps I'm showing. What are the odds that Donna would mention honeysuckle and that there would be a street by that name just over from Stafford Court? What the F? Did Donna look up these maps, or does she really have a gift?